Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 to What If Naruto was sent to Arc Survival Evolved. So make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm telling you to, and also make sure to check out my Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So let's do a tiny bit of a recap, just basically saying that Naruto kind of died in the last part before getting into the new material. So yeah, Naruto kind of died in the last part before figuring out that he can actually respawn. So Naruto respawned at the bed that he had created around his little base, and obviously this would make Naruto realize something. He is not anywhere near as strong as he thought he was, and that he's going to need to get stronger, and in order to do that, either he needs to get stronger by leveling up more and increasing his stats, or something else needs to happen. He needs to get more powerful dinosaurs, and he realizes that that's probably going to be the faster option, because Naruto has no idea how to make himself much any amount of physical strength comparatively to the Carnosaurus that he had tamed in the last part, which completely got wrecked by the raptor that Naruto was trying to fight. So he realizes that the next best option would be to try to tame some sort of dinosaur that would be stronger. Naruto had been looking through his engram list for a while, and he knows of a few that might actually work. Over his time exploring the Ark and the islands and everything like that, he's discovered a few creatures. One is the Spinosaurus, and the other is the T-Rex, or, just the Rex, that's what it's called in Ark. He realizes that he's going to have to tame one of these two creatures in order to, get himself stronger. So Naruto decides which one he wants to go for. Seeing the T-Rex as the bigger threat and something that could be stronger since, they have more health and more attack and more basically everything like that, he decides that that is going to be the first one he's going to go for. So Naruto takes out his tranq rifle and begins trying to head over for some sort of Rex. He makes a I can't fucking talk right now. He makes a trap for it to basically have an easier time of taming it. Naruto learned that over his time of Arc. If you just make a bunch of stone, make a few wooden platforms leading up to it, and you can shoot through and actually hit the dinosaur without it escaping and it can't attack you or anything. So Naruto would end up trapping this T-Rex before shooting it and knocking it out. Eventually, obviously Naruto would tame this creature and it would wake up. Naruto gets a saddle for it and he begins riding it. So obviously speaking, this creature is going to be much stronger than anything Naruto had been previously riding. He levels it up for a while and realizes he wants to test something. He knows that he can just respawn, or at least he hopes so he wants to go take on that raptor again. Going back to the place where he died previously, he sees that raptor sitting there across the river. Naruto's like, okay, well, good as time as any to start trying this shit. So Naruto ends up going over there. He swims across the river and he begins fighting this raptor. And to his surprise, or not really to his surprise, but Naruto actually ends up winning this fight. His creature and himself gain a few level ups, and Naruto actually reaches level 98, almost the max level, which would obviously be level 100. Naruto's like, okay, cool. So Naruto, he gets a few blueprints from that raptor that he ended up killing. A few are actually pretty decent. He gets a better saddle for his T-Rex, along with getting a basically upgraded version of his long neck rifle, which is actually what they're called. He gets an ascendant version of this, which, you probably wouldn't get from a raptor, but I'm going to say Naruto does, and he ends up making one of these, with basically taking away all of the resources he had at his base. Naruto would obviously begin grinding all of those materials back until eventually he had more than he even started with. And now, Naruto wants to go tame another creature. He saw that his T-Rex was male, and now he wants to go tame a female, because Naruto's been experimenting with a few things, and he realized that dinosaurs could actually they could actually breed a while back, and Naruto wants to test this. Could he make them stronger? Could he give them some sort of mutation or something of that sort? So Naruto goes and he ends up taming another Rex, this one being the proper gender, which I believe I said it needed to be female. I don't really remember that. I don't know. I have fucking short-term memory loss apparently. But Naruto ends up taming another one with a similar method except a little bit easier because of his improved rifle. So he knocks it out and he tames it, and he makes a little pen for them to go in because you need to put the dinosaurs on wander in order for them to, mate, because, that does make sense. So Naruto ends up doing this, and eventually a fertilized egg pops out. Naruto's like, okay, well that's pretty dope, and he puts it down, and he's like, oh, it's too cold. What? Okay. He goes over to his fabricator and he's just like, okay, how am I supposed to do this? He he's looking through his engrams and he's like, oh, air conditioner. Air, and it conditions it. It's too cold. Maybe that could work. Naruto makes a few of those and he places them around in his base before dropping the egg down after, powering the different air conditioners. After Naruto puts it down, it actually would begin hatching. As he watches that bar slowly move down, eventually the dinosaur would hatch as this baby dinosaur is, sitting there on the floor of Naruto's base. He claims it and he begins putting raw meat into it as it slowly grows up, getting stronger and stronger. Naruto opens its inventory and realizes it has higher health and a little bit higher melee than his previous creature. So he's like, oh, well, that's pretty dope. I wonder why. Naruto holds, Naruto is able to, look at the stats and, the different points into it, and Naruto realizes why exactly this creature is stronger than the ones that he had tamed. That's because it had gotten something called mutations. Some mutations in Arc are basically I can't fucking talk. So basically, mutations in Arc would allow, different stats to either increase or decrease. I'm pretty sure it's just increase. I don't really remember that much because I'm not that expert on, breeding and shit like that. But basically, in Arc, you can breed creatures and they gain mutations, increasing different stats. Like, say you want to increase their weight, you would have a dinosaur with, higher weight, and you would... Can't fucking talk, apparently. You would breed it with another creature with a similar stat, and it would eventually, after a few times of breeding, gain a mutation. Naruto got lucky and he realized that he got 2 mutations on his first try. Naruto's like, okay. Naruto lets this Rex grow up, and he begins breeding it with, basically incest shit. And it's an entire line. Naruto at this point has 20 of these Rexes, and they have a bunch of mutations on them. Naruto gets to the point where they have 10 health mutations and 10 melee, basically, mutations. It's basically just making the dinosaur stronger, and Naruto discovers one other thing. Color mutations. It basically changes the colors of the dinosaurs in certain areas. He can get cyan and red and all these different kinds of things. After Naruto figures this out, one of the dinosaurs would end up turning orange, with the other having black stripes. Naruto would want to combine these, remembering back to his old clothing type, and he would breed these two together, and the mutation actually successfully works, with it basically being black with orange stripes down it. Naruto's like, okay, that's pretty dope. I'm glad that actually happened. And now, Naruto actually decides that he wants to try to do something. He wants to take on a boss. Naruto, in basically the last part, or between the last part and this part, actually is like, I wonder what exactly those obelisks do, which is what Naruto figured them out to be. He walked up to them and realized he needed a bunch of materials to summon different bosses. He needed materials that you got from killing different, creatures. If you kill a Rex, you get whatever the thing is from that. You kill a Sarco. He has to do all these different things and kill them in order to get these different, basically, crafting materials. After a little bit of grinding, Naruto would successfully gain all of these. So Naruto's like, okay, well, now what? Naruto grabs a bunch of his Rexes. I'm pretty sure there is a limit how many you can actually take into a boss arena. I don't really remember how many it is, but we'll say it's 10. Naruto, gets 10 of those Rexes to follow him, and he walks up to this obelisk now. He gets them all inside of, the big metal terminal area, and Naruto's like, okay, well now what? Naruto puts all the different materials into the actual obelisk itself, and then, similar to what had happened with Naruto crafting in different workbenches, one of the engrams would actually light up to a lighter color. This being the gamma version of the Broodmother, or the weakest version of the Broodmother. Naruto's like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna try this now. As this basically force field begins forming around Naruto, and it actually ends up teleporting him into an arena. As this happens, Naruto's looking around this arena, till eventually he's just like, oh shit, that is a big fucking spider. Because, the Broodmother is literally a spider. Naruto's like, okay, go attack it. Naruto whistles all of his dinosaurs to begin attacking this massive creature, as they make pretty easy work of it because of how many Naruto had, and how basically many mutations that Naruto had gotten on top of it. So, only losing 1 or 2 Rexes, Naruto actually manages to kill the Broodmother before actually getting something new, something called Tech Engrams. And Naruto's like, okay, well that's pretty cool. I don't know exactly what those do, but he opens his engram list and he figures out that he can make a few different things. Something called a Tech Replicator, And then some other just random tech items, like armor and everything like that. Naruto's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder what I can do with these. Naruto decides he's going to do all that later because he wants to see exactly how far he can get with these bosses. So he grabs all of the Rexes, all 20 of them, or 18 I guess that would be left, and he whistles them to follow him. They all go to that obelisk, and Naruto begins summoning more and more bosses until he kills the Gamma version of the Megapithecus, the Gamma version of the dragon, and eventually Naruto would get all the way to the Alpha version of the dragon, the last boss that you can actually fight before you later on, but yeah. The last boss that you can actually fight for Naruto, at least at the current moment. Naruto is like, okay, well I only have like 10 Rexes left at this point, but hey, it's exactly how many I can actually bring in. Making sure they're all at full health, Naruto would enter the arena. Naruto enters the arena, and he's pretty impressed by what exactly this dragon is doing. It's about at half health at this point, but it's already killed 8 of his Rexes, and the other 2 are at pretty low health already. Naruto's like, okay, well, probably gonna die here, but at least I left 2 of my Rexes behind so that they can breed and I can get more, and I can get them stronger before I end up coming back here again to try to kill this thing. Naruto's like, okay, well, I might as well try to do something now. So Naruto pulls out his long neck rifle and begins shooting at the dragon as he watches its health slowly dwindle away as his last Rex would end up dying, and the dragon begins charging towards Naruto now. The dragon would end up roaring at Naruto, and for some reason, this weird primal instinct inside of Naruto basically makes him put away his gun, and he's like, okay, what the actual fuck? Why am I running towards the dragon now? Naruto begins running towards the dragon, and then he looks into his inventory. He got a level up. He's level 101 now. He's like, what? I didn't know that was even a thing before. Because of the fact that if you kill these different creatures, or the bosses, you actually gain level ups. So Naruto's like, oh, well, I didn't know that was a thing. So as Naruto opens his inventory, it pauses the actual game, and Naruto begins looking at his stats. He's like, I wonder what I should increase. Health, melee. He's thinking about it, but then he's looking down at the rest of his stats, and he sees that a new one has actually just arrived. Naruto looks at it, and he sees it's not that much. It's at like 10 out of like 100 or some shit like that. Or not, that doesn't even make sense. It's at like 10 out of 10, obviously. Naruto's like, oh, well, what is that? He reads what it is. It says it's chakra amount. Naruto's like, wait, what? This wasn't here before. Is this like some kind of custom stat that I gained because of the tech stuff? Interesting. Naruto puts a point into it, and his chakra increases to 110. Naruto can feel his own physical body increasing in strength as he's regaining some of the past strength that he had. He's like, oh, so if I put more points into this, I might be able to regain my past strength and become as strong as I was before. Maybe even stronger. Is there a limit to how many levels I can get? Naruto's intrigued by this factor. But he is just like, okay, well, I wonder if I could use a Rasengan now. Naruto exits out of his inventory and begins forming a Rasengan in one hand. It would actually form, and it would sustain itself this time. It doesn't break away instantly. As Naruto looks at his little bars on the right, he sees his chakra bar slowly diminishing as Naruto holds the bar basically there. And he's like, oh, it's just like another stamina, but for chakra this time. Naruto's like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Naruto would throw the Rasengan, or not throw it, but Naruto holds the Rasengan up as it hits into the chest of the actual dragon. It does a pretty decent amount of damage, however it is not enough to actually kill the dragon, as it swipes down on Naruto, sending him flying back towards the back of the arena. Naruto looks over to the right, seeing his health at around half, or he knows that he's going to get one shot if the creature hits him again. He looks and he sees that he can make one more Rasengan at the current moment before he runs out of chakra. Looking back at the dragon, he's just like, okay, I don't think it's going to kill it in one more blow. Naruto pulls out his long neck rifle, getting 3 shots off on it before it begins, getting way too close for Naruto for, him to be able to shoot again. He forms a Rasengan again, and he begins, holding it up as he slams it into the dragon. With this happening, he actually does manage it. He kills the alpha dragon, and he did like half of the damage completely by himself. He's impressed. He's more powerful than any of the Rexes that he's had. He's wondering how strong exactly some of these creatures on this island are going to be, or if Naruto has tamed the strongest of them all. Naruto basically gets teleported back to that area, now with all of the tech engrams, I think at least. So Naruto goes back to his base, and he's just like, well, what do I do now? I killed all the bosses. How am I supposed to get back to my old world? Naruto then remembers at the top of that volcano there's this area that basically was requiring Naruto to be at level 115, I think it is, to actually enter. Naruto, at first, was really confused. He didn't think he could get that high, but now he realizes what that means. He can now get to level 115. So he's like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Naruto begins getting level ups and obviously would put them all into his chakra levels. So with obviously this happening, Naruto would get a lot stronger, his physical strength would increase, and he's about at what he was before in terms of chakra level. Well, not that strong, but well, he'll be at like Naruto's level in terms of chakra level before, minus the actual like Nine Tails. His attacks are not as powerful as they used to be, though. You know, they're just because you kind of have to scale it to the whole arc thing, you know, but whatever. So with this happening, Naruto's like, okay, well now I can go to whatever that area was. Naruto begins venturing into that cave with his new tech equipment and everything like that, and he begins fighting his way through it, until eventually he reaches this weird, basically cave-looking area, or at least towards the end of it, where Naruto would begin ascending. Now, basically with this message above his head, Naruto now has to fight the Overseer. Just wondering exactly what that is, but that's where I'm going to leave this part off. So I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace out. Bye.